Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time being here. My name is Ivy, and I'm the Regional Marketing Manager here at UTS Education. And today, we're very honored to hold a webinar training with UTS. We have Benny Chusaram, the International Relationships Coordinator for Southeast Asia. Benny has been working with UTS for over 7 years, so I'm sure that he will give really good insights and good selling points for everyone to so that you can show it to your prospective students. So again, thank you everyone for being here with us, and thank you, Benny. So to make your time worth here, I'll just do a quick housekeeping notice. At the end of this presentation, we'll have a Q&A session, so that throughout the presentation, if you have any question, please feel free to type in the Q&A box so that we can be easily catch up with all the questions that you might have, and then we will respond it at the end of the presentation. And Benny, I know that you have a lot of things to talk about UTS, and I'm sure that just 1 hour would not be enough. But yeah, to keep everyone in the time frame that we set before, we'll have like an hour or 15-ish minutes, so that we can have all the questions that our agents partner would have to you at the end of this session today. So yes, I was just posting the chat box some selling points for UTS later on, so that you can just have a quick highlight of why you should choose UTS. So that without further ado, over to you, Benny. Thank you very
thanks,
much.
Ivy. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for everybody who have joined today or even watched this after the session. Thank you for spending your time going through this particular 1 hour with me and also with Ivy. And thank you, UTS Education, for arranging this session. So what I'm going to do is very simple. It's going to go through a tour of UTS. And the most important is that don't stop asking questions. If you feel that there's something to ask, just ask. Okay, because the thing is that you don't ask, then it is going to be quite troublesome because you will not know what's going on. And what UTS always has is, even for all our students, we basically have one email called askuts.alliance@uts.edu.au. So imagine that we have one email just to say ask UTS if you want to ask anything. So for every single student or for everyone who want to ask a question about UTS, just ask UTS Alliance uts.edu.au. So that will be one email that you can actually check with. Of course, if you talk about agencies supporting students and all that, you want to ask those questions, we have a separate email for you to ask. Of course, you have to ask UTS Education, then UTS Education will pass it back to UTS. So that's one of the areas. And what you're looking at in the video now is basically some of our students surrounding UTS, and that's where UTS is located, and it's just hotspot. What you're looking at is Sydney, and we are right in the middle of Sydney. But well, you talk about UTS, a lot of people say UTS, University of Technology. So a lot of countries like Vietnam and certain countries, they always think that when you talk about technology, it's only focusing on technology. But actually it's not. We basically cover everything and anything except for medicine. So that is almost every single area. We have 150 undergraduate and 240 postgraduate programs that come across. And what we do is we apply technology towards all the programs that we have. I'll tell you more later on how we actually apply those technology into this program. And now we bring you to Sydney. If you have not been to Sydney, I know these last 2 years you can't travel, and never mind, I'll just bring you across a quick one. One photo tells you everything about UTS, okay? One photo tells you everything that you need to know for international students. Very easy. First thing, if you have not been to Sydney, this is basically part of the CBD, the Central Business District of Sydney, and it's the central of New South Wales State. Well, everything is happening here. We have a population of 5 to 6 million population. It's considered one of the largest or the second largest, depending on whether Melbourne is higher or Sydney is higher. So sometimes it's very contradict with each other. So it could be almost par to each other. It's a 50-50 kind of things. But the most important thing is, where is UTS? Before where is UTS, I believe you have seen Harbour Bridge before. This is Sydney's trademark. And this white color area here, basically, if you go there, it is actually the Opera House. And Opera House is a trademark for Australia. So everywhere you see Opera House. So of course, this is quite standard for all agents, you know about this. So I don't want to go into that. But what you see is this one is Sydney Tower. Why I'm telling you all this? This is Darling Harbour. Why am I telling you all this area? Is because you can walk from UTS. And where is UTS? I'll show you in a minute. This is basically Fish Market, Darling Harbour, the largest convention center in Australia, Chinatown, Paddy Market, and behind this bush is the Central train station. And where's UTS? UTS is basically from this corner all the way up here, all the way to the top here, and come back here. So we own about 64 buildings in the city. Can you imagine that we actually are part of the city? And we have about 46,000 students. If you check on the online now, we still have 46,000 students per 2020. So you can imagine that even the COVID-19 doesn't stop the numbers coming in. So that's how crazy UTS is. And to be honest, I think we are the only university who increased our fees during this pandemic. And everybody is scratching their head, huh? Are you sure? Yes, you can go and check around. Almost all the institutions in Australia are actually remaining their fees or giving a lot of rebates, 25, 30% to off their fees. UTS have no rebate, nothing. Then you're like, oh shit, this is how am I going to recruit students for UTS, right? Well, I'll show you how and why and how you need to do it. That's a very important point. And surrounding this area, surrounding the campus, we basically have 12 student accommodation, and those names definitely you know. Maybe you don't even know where they're located before this. I can straight away tell you. This two red building is basically Urban Nest, Darling House, and Darling Square. Okay, it's just right in front of Darling Harbour. And it's just next behind to business school. It's less than 3-minute walk across the street. It's already the business school of UTS. And here is basically Urban Nest Key Street. And then here is Igloo. This whole stretch is Igloo. And there's a UTS accommodation here. There's one UTS accommodation here. This is Urban Nest, Walter Street. And further down this street, another 2-3-minute or 5-minute walk, you basically reach another UTS accommodation. Here is UTS accommodation. And then this is Uni Lodge. And then this is, of course, this is not accommodation. This one is basically Broadway Shopping Center. So if you're familiar with Broadway Shopping Center, basically in one shopping center, they have Kmart, Target, and the Cole. So it's walking distance within 10 to 15 minutes from the engineering school. So it is so easy to move around and everything within the reach of 10 to 15 minutes. And I mentioned there's now Central train station. That means regardless where you stay in Sydney, every single train must pass by UTS. Every single train. Okay, so that means regardless where you stay, by 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even 45 minutes, you're still reachable to UTS by train or by bus, because the main bus station is also across the street, just right in front of UTS building as well. So it is very, very convenient, the central of transportation hub, basically the central of the business district. And of course, this whole district is called the Entrepreneurship Hub of Australia. And another word is basically Sydney is the 64% of the Australian entrepreneurship industry is happening at Sydney. So you can see that how powerful and how exponential this area would be if, let's say, you are looking at the overall picture. And just give you an idea, the whole area that I mentioned earlier, except for this white building. This white building is Australia Broadcasting Corporation, the largest TV station in Australia. Is just next to the Faculty of Art and Social Science, which is the communication school. So it's next to the design school. So this both area is all directing students into the industry itself. And then further down the street, if you walk down this street, further down here, the Google HQ is just here. So that's how connected the industry is. And you talk about all the banks, all the HQ, everything. We talk about out of I think 85% of the bank or HQ bank is all based in Sydney as well. So you can see how strong the industry connection is. And of course, you say, some students say, I want to have the campus feel, I want to have a big field to roll around in the campus. I say, how many times you're going to roll around the campus? Of course, you use the facilities more than you roll around the campus, right? So definitely, sometimes I'll tell the student it's more important to use the facility to facilitate your education rather than using the field to roll around in the university. We have a lot of fields surrounding UTS. We basically have Hyde Park, the largest park in Sydney. Basically, it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. Opposite, we have a small park here. Basically, it's called the Central Park. And then further down, you walk about 8 minutes, you reach Darling Harbour. Darling Harbour, before Darling Harbour, there's another big park. So there is a lot of parks surrounding UTS. but we don't have our own park except for a patch of garden that I'll show you later. Okay, and this, if you zoom in, I just want to talk about this building now. This building is basically our engineering and IT building. Sorry, I'll go a little bit faster today. If let's say you're talking about, you have questions, just put it in the Q&A. I will come back to the question shortly. Okay. Now I come into this building. This building basically is our engineering and IT building. And what is in this building? This building has about 14-story high. And if let's say, if those people in Malaysia, in Penang, you know that, oh, this is basically similar to Prangin Mall. If you're talking about, you are in Thailand, it's basically similar to the size of a Mabung Kong shopping center. So those kind of feeling that you can get. And how big is this? You can fit in about 11,000 students with space around each student some more. And as every single moment, the most important is this building is a smart building. It has more than 2,000 over sensor. UTS live up to his trademark of technology. What we do is that we embedded about 2,000 over sensor in this building. The moment you walk in the building, it knows that someone is coming in the building. Because of privacy issue, we cannot identify who is coming in the building. If there is no privacy issue, we can actually do that because the face recognition system used in China is our creation. So we can actually do that if we want to, but of course, of privacy issue, we don't use that kind of technology on the campus, but we use it for different purposes. What we do is that we use it for control of the temperature because this building generates its own energy, recycle its own water, and control its own temperature. Meaning that anybody who walk in the building, it knows that there's someone coming into the building. It knows how many people is in the building, and it automatically adjusts the temperature according to the numbers of people in the building. So that's how technological we are applying to the building. Next building is the library. I'll show you how crazy the library look like later. Okay. The next building to the engineering connected is basically the nursing school and the education department. So what happened is that the nursing school has a full ward, like a hospital, where all the robots are, where all the mannequins that is designed and robot can be programmed to be sick in 5 seconds and recover in 5 seconds, and they can do everything. They can blink their eye, they can do everything except they cannot walk. So it is weight like 80 kg and all that. I'll show you more in detail. And the L-shaped science here is the science school. And of course, the communication, the design school, and the business school, and so on. So what else I'm going to show you is like, if I bring you a tour here, I'll just tell you, okay, this is the what we call the central train station. This is just now the one I told you about, the convention center. And this is the public library just right behind the business school, Chinatown, Paddy Market, and then night view of Darling Harbour. So the hotspot area is fantastic. Now, come back to the university's age. I am older than the uni. The uni is only 33 years old. 33 years old. So it's very, very, very young. So when I talk about 33 years old, I don't contradict with this. Basically, we are also ranked 133 in the world. So for a 33 years old university, we actually rank 133 in the world, not only in one area, but basically there is also another ranking. I believe that you have seen this particular ranking just these few days as well. So if you look at this particular ranking, we are not only in one area. Two ranking also tell us we are top in the world of 150s. Basically, even Time Education is telling us that we are actually ranked 143. Even during pandemic, we are jumping 17 places for 160 to 143. Can you imagine that without research going on, like real research coming in, we still have research output that's going on in Australia. So a lot of things is going on in the campus, on the campus, while pandemic is happening at the same time. And we are not 1 year ranked number 9 in Australia. Everybody talk about group of 8. Basically, we are ranked number 9 for the last 7 years. We are not ranked number 9 for the first year. We are ranked number 9 in Australia for the last 7 years. It's a consistency of the university. When you talk about young university category, we've been ranked number 1 young university in Australia for the last 7 years as well. So how consistent we are, you can see on your own. So that is very important. When I talk to students, when I talk to students, we talk about ranking of this university, 133, 143. Yeah, we just say, oh, you're still below GO8. Well, I can tell you, GO8, all the GO8 have medical school. UTS doesn't have medical school. Medical research is the one that boom you up to the highest ranking, the easiest way to go up. But UTS has 0 medicine school. But we can still reach the world ranking according to them as well. That behind them, right behind them. We are not far from the last place of the GO8. They are only 136, we are already 143. So it's only a few places left to go to reach the GO8 level. So you can see that how fast we can go and how fast we can actually move in the industry. But the most important is why UTS can do it and how we do it is so important. So it's the model of learning and the way we teach the student and how we approach the industry. That's the key area that you can sell to your student, and how it differentiates and why we can do it during this pandemic, we can still do well, and why our fees is not changed. That is because one most important reason. In 2015, we have changed our learning model to become a hybrid university before even the pandemic happened. So during 2015, we already is a practical based plus a hybrid institution, meaning that we split all our classes. You know, like when students come to class, right? I believe you has been a student before. When you come to lectures, I believe you are there, but you're not there. You are there physically, but your mentally is not there. You might be daydreaming, you know, what am I doing the lunch today? You know what I'm going to, after class, what movie should we see? You know, when the lecture, and then you like, don't know what you're doing. So it's quite normal. Every student have that issue. And every single Asian student, I believe, every single Asian student have one issue, shy. They are shy to ask questions. Imagine the lecturer say any question and everybody just goes, hey, ask, you ask, hey, you ask. You know, it's common. I believe you did that to your friend as well. Your friend did that to you as well. You know, especially when you are in the class, right? The teacher asks any question. You want to ask, you know, but you dare not ask. You ask your friend to ask. So it's quite common, right? So we know this happened across the world of students, international pool of students. Even domestic students have this issue. So what we did was we decided that we split all our classes, because a lot of people, it's not because they do not dare to ask, it's because they don't have the confidence to ask. They don't know what they ask. They don't know what to ask, or they are not sure if they ask the right question. That's the most important, because they don't have confidence. Imagine you go to a class that you're new to you, and then suddenly the lecturer finish the class and then they ask you one question to ask. Of course, you're like, what did he just say? I'm not sure. I only heard 80% or 60% of the class. So how are you going to cope with that? How are you going to ask the question? You're going to ask the question in lecture. Can you just repeat what you say? I don't understand you. So of course, it will feel very weird if you continue to ask the same kind of question after another. So what we did was, to solve this issue, we split our class into two parts. The part A is basically to build the confidence of the students. Imagine now you have a recorded video of your class before you attend the class, meaning that you can play back, rewind, you can play until how many times rewind, anytime you like, until you are clear, you are familiar, you know, until you have questions to ask, you can put notes down. When you are clear, you are all perfect. You have the confidence to ask the correct question to the right person. And imagine you come to the part 2 class, and the part 2 class is like this. When you come into the lecture theater, the lecture starts to continue with part 2. And you have the question from part 1, which is linked to part 2. You will put up your question and say, lecturer, I have this question to ask you. Can you answer? And the best part is, most of the lecturer already predicted those questions will pop up. And at UTS, we live up to our word of practical learning and technical learning. How we do it is very simple. When the student asks the question, sometimes instead of giving you the answer, they actually give you case study and project. That's to answer your question. Instead of giving you the answer where you go in left, maybe go out right, you know. So sometimes instead of giving that, might as well you do and you prepare the answer on your own. So that is why all our classes at UTS has changed. We spent about $1.3 billion, you know, $1.3 billion in Australia to revamp, to change all the facilities at UTS into a collaborative space, meaning teamwork space. Everything is all for discussion purposes. All the lecture theaters that is auditorium concept, we have demolished that. We change it to a 2 row of table, 1 level up, 2 row of table, 1 level up. That's how our lecture theaters look like. And it's small scale. This is a 160 classroom size, and we have also a 250 classroom size. And all the row is 2 row, 1 level up. Why? Because when the lecturer gives you the case study, you actually will turn around and go into discussion mode. Imagine 3 years, 4 years, or even minimum 2 years for masters. Imagine the duration. Every single class you go to, you have to do discussion. For a person who don't talk, you will be trained to be talkative. For a person who cannot collaborate, you will learn how to collaborate with different type of people. For an introvert, you will become an extrovert person. So that is kind of things that you are training students. And that is what industry people want. Someone who can go into a team discussion and contribute ideas instead of sitting wait for instruction. And that's where UTS comes in. So imagine 3 years of this kind of practical solution. Imagine every day you need to solve problem. the answer comes from you, not from the professor. At the end of the class, the professor will summarize the best answer and give you the best solution. But through the process, you learn about case study, you learn about problem solving, you learn about teamwork, you learn about managing people, you learn about understanding how to work in team, communication skill, everything embedded in this kind of model of learning. That's where the practical learning comes in at UTS. So I hope this is one of the most important selling points at UTS that you need to take back today. Other than that, you can remember, forget everything, but this particular part, you must remember if you want to sell UTS to your students. And that's the key difference compared to others. And during pandemic, when March 2020, UTS only closed for 1 week, and you can check with the rest of the university in Australia how long they closed. But UTS only closed for 1 week. Why? Because all our syllabus has been in online, has already in this mode of learning all the time. So student adaptability is just, we are just closed for 1 week because we make sure all our servers are ready to support all our students overseas, to make sure all can go online at the same time with full 100% license for everybody to use. And then we launch back the campus. So that's how fast we are. We only close for 1 week to make sure all our systems are prepared to support the student, and everybody just convert. But most of the universities in the world have to close more than months because why? Their syllabus are traditionally theory-based. They don't have a soft copy base. So what happens is that they have to start to change all their syllabus to adapt to that mode. And that's how and why they actually have a delay. And UTS is continuing teaching their mode of learning exactly the same. And a lot of people say, oh, you say practical, that means must be on campus, right? Well, I can tell you that why it's so easy to adapt is because the first part of the class, I said, has been pre-recorded. The second part of the class, I believe you went into so many webinars, just example like today. The webinar basically is like our lecture theater, the main room. But when you talk about this breakout discussion, breakout room, so everybody can still go to breakout room and do discussion and just do recording and then can do all their discussion and then record and then come back and present their case in the classroom. So there's no difference between live and face-to-face or virtual. It's exactly the same. And the most important is UTS think of this. Instead of giving you discount, right? What happened is that we actually say that if you study online with us during pandemic, right? We guarantee you one thing. If you fail the subject, you can repeat the subject without payment. Yeah, this is totally correct. You don't have to worry. Yeah, when you do online learning with UTS, basically you can actually do the online learning. It is on the offer letter. You can actually do the online learning, and if in the case that you fail the subject, you can repeat the subject again without payment and without record that you actually fail the subject in the next semester. So that's the selling point. Better than give you discount, better than give you rebate. Why? Because you have stress-free in studying at UTS. So if you fail the first semester, you can just repeat the whole semester again without payment, and there's no record that you actually failed. And that's the key area. And the parents also feel relaxed. The kids also feel relaxed because the parent won't pressure the kid. Hey, so expensive, so expensive, don't fail, That's okay. So you know, parents will ask this question. A lot of parents have this question. I believe you as an agent, you all know. Parents always say, hey, online, got discount or not, all this kind of thing, right? Same. This is the answer to that question. Okay, settle that one. So key in mind, this is the second selling point for UTS. So, and the key area is, I told you already just now what I told you. This is the 4 key areas that people want in the industry. This is the future of work. And of course, if you do online, all these things, right, it actually had help them to put into their resume. And coming to the facilities, I just touched a few facilities today because if I talk all the facilities, I'm going to take 2-3 hours, cannot finish it. So one of the facilities is this data arena. So you talk about data arena is that you can have a 360-degree room where you can actually put a device on your hand, you can pull the data, move the data. That's what you call the data visualization and data analytics and all these data science, all the program that we have, they actually will engage in this room. This room not only used for this room also used for a lot of journalism, a lot of communication program, a lot of animation program. It is very, very expensive and very strong facilities. And this is what we call the data analytical room. Sorry. This one is basically the sound and also the 5G antenna chamber to test the 5G signal. Because UTS is also the only university in Australia who have a 5G antenna and 5G chamber to test all the signal. And our key partner is Nokia. So we have been working with Nokia for many years. Before that, it was Alcatel-Lucent, and Nokia bought over Alcatel-Lucent and become our partners as well. So it has a lot of things. And this facility is called Tech Lab. It's right in the middle of industry zone, outside of the city. It's about 10-15 minutes away from the main campus. We have transport to bring you there every day. Every single hour, we have a bus to bring you there. So students who are involved in projects and all that, they can actually fully utilize all the equipment there to work with the industry partners. So that's how we work very closely with industry partners. Like engineering and IT, we have more than 1,000 partners. Communication, we have more than 150 partners. So in Sydney itself. So there's a lot. Who is this guy? This is basically Steve Wozniak, the person who created iOS system. He is the iOS person. Without him, there's no Apple. So he is also our adjunct professor. So can you imagine? A lot of people ask, why not MIT? Well, UTS is a university who invests in technology. I would say the answer, very simple. If you like analytic, a lot of people talking about analytic everywhere. Well, another one is the game analytic. We are actually working very closely with Acer Predator and Intel to work on data in terms of how to predict human behavior of playing games. And this is the earthquake testing facility for layman term. For professional term, it's called structural testing facilities or structural testing. You can test earthquake up to 6.0 G. So Australia doesn't have earthquake, but we are the only university who have this facility to support, because like we have students coming from Indonesia, students coming from Japan, students coming from Philippines, where earthquake is quite common there. And they come into the engineering, they come to do the research, they can do a lot of testing on the building structure, building, and also on, and many other areas as well. A hot thing that's going on in the market is algae. Algae reproduction, basically, this is an advanced technology facilities right in underground in UTS campus. This one is to analyze and to build algae where they can actually use in beer, can actually use in skincare, medicine, vitamins, and fuel. Petrol fuel. Yes. So yeah, a lot of things going on in this particular area. So it's very happening. This one, if you are from Vietnam, this is basically in your seabed. So this is basically working on with the Australian government and Vietnam government with the agriculture department. And we spent about almost 1 million Aussie dollar in their project just to support the agricultural reproduction at the sea. Like example, this is a totally industry 4.0 AI system where it actually detect and analyze the water quality and send back the signal for data collection to make sure the water quality is good and the production is well at the sea, so that we can produce good fish, good agricultural production for the country. So this is an industry 4.0 project. And come to 3D printing, this is going to be the future of the world. We talk about printer. Every house now has a printer. But you talk about another 3 to 4 years or 5 years down the road, I believe every house will have a 3D printer, 3D pen, or so on. But in UTS, of course, you will not be able to have these facilities in your house. But this is definitely something that we invest multi-million dollars of facilities to print anything, everything that you can imagine of. So this is a prototype space where you can do everything you can imagine of. We can even print microchip, nano chip. This is nano chip. It's the nano level. It's called the Dragonfly printing machine. You can print up to the nano level. Can you imagine how small that is? So it's 9 times smaller than I can't remember what chip is that. So basically, you can print and plug in and use it. So this is a food printing machine. This can print as big as me. And we have all kinds of things. This is basically a project working with a private company and University of Sydney, led by UTS, in terms of reproduction of using our stem cell to print organ. And it already successfully print the heart cell. And now they're going for the full organ. So you can see that UTS actually investing all kinds of technology, and we don't advertise on it. UTS is one university who have almost zero advertisement in the market. We basically don't spend money on advertising, but we still have 46,000 students, because why? It's all word of mouth. All go by word of mouth, people recommending people to join UTS. That's how it works. So that is more stronger than advertising. And we also depend on you understanding UTS, come and check out UTS, and then you can recommend to your student. That's a very important part. So coming to this library, I just skip to the library. Well, the library, this is part of our library, and this is a 7-story space library. Unfortunately, a lot of students haven't used these facilities. It was ready and then locked down. So only partial of students have used these facilities. It's a 7-story space of library. And if you cannot find the book in our library, I tell you, it is right under this garden. This is the only garden that UTS have, and it's a very expensive garden. Okay, why? Because it's an expensive land in Sydney. But anyway, it's just for fun. because people complain we don't have gardens, so we have to create a garden for them, you know. So when we have a garden, right, a lot of students really spend time here. They really do sunbathing. Of course, not naked, so they are still wearing, looking, watching. I mean, reading the books and hanging out in the soft sun and so on. And we have deck chair, everything ready. Every day we'll open up the deck chair, and evening we'll close up the deck chair. So you really can sit down and hang out in a very cool area. So under this garden, we actually have up to 1 million book underground. It's a 4-story underground space with 3-story is the robotic library. So you just key into the computer and order, the robot will go underground, take the book and send it back to the collection area. So that's UTS library. So not only in the 7-story space, if you cannot find the book, it's right under this garden. So we basically use technology, as I said, across the whole campus, every single area. And you talk about science lab. Basically, this science lab, if you talk about super lab, there's 14 in the world. We have 2 of the super lab at UTS. You talk about law school, we are also ranked 61 in the world, number 7 in Australia in law school. And we are also one of the university in New South Wales State, I think the only one at the moment, unless UNSW has it already. We are the only one other than the legal board who has a PLP license program. That means if you finish a law degree with us, we actually have the license embedded in the program where you can actually finish and practice as a lawyer immediately in New South Wales State. You don't have to take the program separately. You can embed into the program, the bachelor degree of law in 4 years and finish with a PLP inclusive in it. Or you can do a Juris Doctor with PLP. So a lot of MPs, a lot of all that, you can see that they actually also have UTS degree, because why? We are the only one other than the legal bar council who have all these programs. So, and UTS Law School has been a very old school before even UTS exists. So, and we are also the only university in Australia who has a technology law major. So students already been grabbed up so fast, you know, for those who first batch of graduate, especially all the banks, especially all the technology company, basically they grab them up because why? There's so many cybercrime in the market and nobody actually see this space. And UTS has been running this module of specialization in the technology major that you can actually fight for the crime, technology crime and so on in the market. So that is something that we look future. UTS is always a futuristic institution. We look ahead, we do things ahead. Just like our diploma in UTS College, we are the first. If we don't run the diploma, there's no such thing as all other diploma in the world, because we were the first diploma program in Australia. Without that diploma, there will not be a lot of other partners of diploma in the market. So even our design school ranked number 2 in Australia and 25 in the world, a technological university, but ranked number 25 in the world. So you can see that how good. And this is how our fashion school, our fashion design, and we are also ranked number 1 fashion school in Australia and 13 in the world. And you can see that this is our grand hall. Actually, this is our grand hall, and every year we have a graduation. And every year our students also get 3 to 5 scholarships to pass on design school for their master degree. And we have a lot of students who are designing for the Hollywood stars and so on. And talk about technology, we have all these robot hands that is industrial based, that doing carving, movie shooting, or for the design areas and programs and so on. And of course, all the workshop is underground. You don't see above the ground. And talk about communication school, basically, this is some of the partners that we are working with, the famous one. And of course, we have more than 150 partners in Sydney itself that we are working very, very closely with. So, and talk about facilities, you name it, they have all these facilities. I passed the slide to Ivy, and you all can share if let's say you all need it to use. All the slides has been already sent to yes, so you all can use this, and the videos are all there as well. So we talk about animation. These are programs where it's very hard to find job because it doesn't advertise. It's all by recommendation. The best part is we bring the best to the uni. And I believe all these movies you have seen, you go and check out who is Animal Logic. Animal Logic is a company equivalent to Disney, equivalent to Pixar, equivalent to a lot of all these big shops in the world. And a lot of the movie you see actually is their production. Like example, Hunger Games, Marvel's movie, all this is their production. And why we are talking about that, they actually are based inside UTS at the moment. It's called the UTS Animal Logic Academy. So they are actually running a master degree program for us and themselves. So it's a 1-year program for master degree. People coming in from engineering, coming in from IT, coming in from design can join this program. It's a 1 year, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's like a working. and it's all trained by professional designers, the visual FX, all the Houdini app, everything that you think, all the animation work that you see. Like I think the olden days, if I say you are my age area, you will know. Matrix is all their work. It's all their work. Matrix is the first few movie that you see out of the box, like, oh, very fancy, very futuristic. Yeah, it's all their work. And of course, the cartoon like Happy Feet, Hunger Game, all this is their production. It's a long list of movie that you will see. So, and they are actually based inside UTS. Just to give you a glimpse on what is UTS students' work like. So this is the work that they do. Every year, they have a few projects that they do. And this is the sum of the production that is done by the students. And we even did a projection using a robot hand to capture the whole movie for basically the government, the Air Force in Australia, to promote female pilot program. There's so many things that they come to students and they actually ask them to do. And there's a lot more. And if let's say your student are a very entrepreneurship, I believe a lot of people are talking about, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur. Do you have an entrepreneurship program? Honestly, I don't have a degree in entrepreneurship, but I do have an honors degree in entrepreneurship. But what we're trying to say is that you do not require an entrepreneurship degree to become an entrepreneur. Because every single program where you study at UTS, there are components where you'll be doing entrepreneurship. But how you do it is a free program. You can join the UTS Startup program, where you can actually come in and join the boot camp. In the boot camp, you'll be able to mix with other students from other departments, and you can co-share your ideas, and you can become a co-founder together and form a business. And we actually have 2 buildings allocated just for startup students. Currently, we have 400 startups that is funded by venture capital. If you read the news, UTS just got Think Tank just joined us. We have a few more venture capitals that just joined us as well. Previously, we already have venture capitals like big players like Qantas and all that. They have been very long with us, and they have been funding all our students' projects and make it big. There's a few projects that is very, very big at the moment. We even have projects that go all the way to Silicon Valley as well. So there's so many things that's going on in UTS, and it's all free. You don't have to pay for it. You just need to pay for the boot camp, and the boot camp is like $20 if I'm not mistaken, and that's it. And after that, if your project is related to your study area, you can actually become your internship, and you can be supervised by your professor. So there's a lot of things that you can get from UTS. We are a practical-based university. And the career office, I think this is one student that everybody asks you, even every single parent asks you, how about job? How about job? Okay, that is why it comes in. UTS Career basically is a department where they run a lot of career fair on campus 3 to 4 times a year, with 100 to 400 companies coming in, setting up booths like education fair. And the companies actually promote their companies to the UTS students. They even have a talk session to talk about their company. And then students will go in and listen. And do I like this company? Okay, if I like this company, I'll go for the networking session. After the networking session, then you go for the real interview session. So there's a lot of process that we work very differently from the original market. It's the other way around. Company will come to UTS and promote their company to the students. And the career office, bear in mind we have 46,000 students. This mock interview is you have to approach the career office. The career office doesn't approach you. They will publish everywhere. Come and see us, come and see us. But the student must make the initiative to come and see them to make the mock interview. They have one-to-one counseling session. And the best part is, if you don't have a suit to go for interview, they even have a suit for hire. You can actually rent the suit to go for an interview. So that's how fun it is. So it's a full-fledged facilities. And UTS is ranked number 7 best employed university in Australia and 69 in the world. So bear in mind, there's only 8 Australian universities ranked in the top 100 in Australia, and UTS is one of them. There's only 6 group of 8 and 2 non-group of 8. So this is something that I thought about it. And UTS is also a very active institution. We have roughly about 133 clubs and societies. And in name of all the sports, we definitely have in all the sports facilities, even though it doesn't own by us, under your students' SSAF fund is already inclusive there as well. So there's a lot of things that you can actually utilize. This is some of the video or photos of the accommodation that UTS have, and you can actually check it out. So you can even check it out online. It's a 360 tour and many other things as well. We have, basically, it's a very fun environment to study. This is a private accommodation around UTS. And yes, so you talk about scholarship, there is a lot of scholarship available. But of course, there's a very competitive market at the moment. Everybody is giving almost a similar scholarship. But at the end of the day, it's up to the agents and up to the students to decide after you all shared the facilities and the outcome of the university, how you can actually get to that particular part of the market. So I think that is what I can share today. And definitely, I've been very, very, very fast. I hope you can catch whatever I said. But don't worry, if you have questions, I'm happy for you to put it up to me. And yeah, and I believe Ivy has helped me to post up some of the area where you can actually check out the link for the essential book download, the scholarship link, and also the what we call the handbook. So if let's say for someone who has no background in or you are new to this industry, I would say this is one area where you can actually go in and check it out and very, very easily learn the program. Handbook is so important where it's actually the core of the program and you can get very, very detailed of the program. Example, like business degree. A lot of people say that business degree must be pure business. UTS business degree is a bit unique from the rest of the New South Wales Business School as well. So what happened is like we can do a double degree. Yeah, it's normal, double major, double degree, all this quite common, right? But the most important is if you do the double major, you can do a double major, one in business, one non-business. Okay, that's one thing. Second is like if you decided to a program, so like example, you can see that here, you do an 8 subject in core, you do a first major, which is 8 subjects, and then you can do a second major in 8 subjects, or the second major, instead of doing second major, you can do 2 sub-major, or a sub-major with elective, or 8 elective. So you can see that you can manipulate your program. So what we believe is there's no fixed degree, that everything can be done by you. You can think what you want and you can be different from other people. That's why we believe in the future, no one actually have a similar specialization and you can create your own specialization. Example. So you see when the first year you do, you'll be doing a little bit of economy, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of finance, a little bit of management, a little bit of account. So it is quite straightforward. It's across the board. Everything you do one subject, except for account, you do 2 subjects. After you finish that, right, you go into the stream. Under the stream, you choose the standard stream. When you do the standard stream, it's 2 majors, but the first major must be business, And a lot of people ask me, if let's say I want to do e-commerce, I will go into advertising and marketing communication. I don't have the title e-commerce, but the e-commerce subject is all in the advertising and marketing communication. Example, you can cover areas like media planning, creative advertising, business internship, branding, advertising research, strategic communication design. All this is part under here. And why I say this one is part of the e-commerce, and then you say there's no programming here, there's nothing here. How do you say it's e-commerce? Well, that's how you combine the program, because this area, first thing you need to know how to advertise your product, how to market your product. Second, you can choose the second area. Instead of doing a second major, you can actually do business analytics and IT as a sub-major. You can do an IT sub-major or an IT as a major. So then you can combine your program, become an e-commerce related program. You can design your program accordingly to what you want. You know, you can say, I think I do not want programming, but I just want to know about analytics on marketing, or I want to know about business analytics. No, I can actually design my program accordingly to my planning. Yeah. And some people say, no, I prefer to talk. I'm not so much into the designing of it. So I can go into management consulting. So I can design my program according to my taste of what I want to be. So that's how crazy the program can be. And if it's a 48 credit point, it's a major. 24 is a sub-major. And elective is anything from, you can choose one subject from here, one subject from there, from the business elective area. So you can mix and match anything that you want. So, and some people say, I will do business information system. And why not? You can actually do all that, because business information system is a software programming area where you do industry solution. You come out with apps, come out with system, and you are a translator between 2 parties. So from the IT to the business world. So yes, you can actually do all this program if you know how to combine. And the most important is that if you want to know what do you do in that particular subject, let's say example, let's just choose one of the subjects, okay? Let's say, okay, integrated marketing communication. You click the number, it gives you a description. And if it's really ready, you still not sure, you want to know how detailed the subject is, right? You just click the details. Click the details, it goes into the syllabus. You know, like if you study in Southeast Asia country, like until you finish your degree, sometimes they only give you if you request. Sometimes they give you, when you go in the class, they give you a syllabus. And then you think useless one, I throw away. But at the end of your study, right, then those are all important documents. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. But in UTS or in Australia education, you get the syllabus before even you join the program. You can see and read and understand before you actually join. So you can tell your student, see how detailed it is. You can see how clear information here is until you are so clear. You can see even the teaching strategy, they tell you how many hours are in the class, what are the content they're going to focus on, and even tell you how the assessment going to work. 20% is going to be a tutorial mid-session. 30% is going to be a project report. 40% is going to be final exam. So there's a 40% exam in this particular program. Then for 20, 30, 10. So the 60% will be more the presentation and projects and a tutorial. So these three is practical side, only one exam. So you can see how easy it is. And then to pass this subject, 50%. And then the reference book. Every single subject has this kind of breakdown to the extent that you know what's going on before you even start the program. So that's how clear it is. And that is why you need to understand how to use this website. And this website will be a very easy tool to tell your student, and then they can do their own survey. Once they've done their own survey, they'll come back to you. Because nobody is giving them all these details. Yeah. So you are the only one giving them. So then they will come back to you and they'll say, okay, I think I want UTS. So that's how I actually close most of my students. Yeah, so the same goes to you. I don't handle application, or I will help you to close the student, and then you go and team the rest of it, and then go and settle the rest of it. Okay, so that's how it is. And the most important is that all the program here is up to date. Okay, all the program is up to date. And one thing you need to understand about UTS is all the master degree, all university has a little bit different. What is extended and what is advanced? Let's say, example, I just go into one of the program, maybe engineering. Yeah. Then you can see the word. There will be an extension, there will be an advanced. Then a lot of people start to confuse why got advanced, why got extension. It's all 2 years, and what's the title is all the same. Well, the most important is extension is for normal student who want to do 2-year program, because the normal program, Master of Engineering, is only 1.5 years. I believe most of your students will want to have a post-study work visa. So when they want to go for a post-study work visa, they need to have a 2 years education. So that's where the extension comes in. But some students, they want to do research, but they don't have research background. That's where they come in to do advanced. But they cannot register for advanced. They need to join extension first. Then in the extension, when they are studying, they need to tell their professor, I'm interested in research. So they will convert their program from extension to advanced internally in UTS. So they will be doing 1 year coursework, 2nd year research project. In the research project will lead them to PhD. So that's how it works for the advanced subject. Okay, so these are the few things that you need to put in mind. And if you have all this clear, settle, easy. Then you can manual everything already. Okay, so it's very, very, very simple. So far, any question?
I think it's pretty good, good amount of information. So I've seen some question popping up in the Q&A in the chat box. First one is from Carlo. I'm not sure what this word means. UTS have a BSISWA for study semester 2.
Yeah, okay. Is it Cardoso? Is it the question from?
I'm not sure. Carlo, if you don't mind to
you can voice
clarify.
out, no worries. I can voice out your question.
Yeah. So so I think we can come back to this question later on.
Okay, no problem.
So another question from Carl. So this question is about the Bachelor of Nursing. So if the student pathway from TAFE to UTS, is there any chance that UTS can issue a conditional offer, or they need to have
we do have arrangement with TAFE. We do have arrangement with TAFE with multiple programs. So yes, there is. We do have business program. We do have nursing. We do have a few programs. You can actually I can actually ask the team to send over a list of the program that we have that is with TAFE. So we can do a package arrangement with TAFE, no problem. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can get conditional offer at
yes.
UTS, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as the student get the IELTS 7 all bands before they commence the bachelor.
So for nursing program, is always the 7 is the most important.
It's uniform. Okay. So the second question is that whether UTS accepts the offshore enrollment through agency. Should be.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where the student is from. So particularly for perhaps this is our agent from the Latin America region. So it could be different and varies by region. But for students, let's say the students from Vietnam, I'm not sure if you can answer this question, but we can come back to that after this. If we can just send you through the email for further information about Latin America region. But let's say in Southeast Asia, for Vietnam, UTS accepts a certain high school, particularly gifted high school. So if the student coming from these high school and specifically have GPA, I think 7.5, right, Benny? Right, so they can come in directly to
oh no, if let's say they are from the gifted high school, they need to have a 8.8 8.0 to come into the program. But if they want to get a 25% scholarship, then they have to go up to roughly about in the range of 8.8, 8.7, 8.9, that range. Then they will be guaranteed a 25% scholarship for the total study duration. So even for those students who are not in the gifted high school, those who are not in the gifted high school, as long as they meet a certain cutoff of 8 and above, I believe, they will also entitle for the second year, third year, fourth year of 25%, where they do the first year with our college. So yes, that is. So we have all that covered, and don't have to worry. There's a lot of arrangement in place. As long as you have a student, we will have a solution. So that's the most important.
Yeah, that for sure. I think also UTS College, just to remind everyone, college also offer 4,000 or 8,000 Australian dollars scholarship for the pathway program as well. So another question from Ms. Hu. If the student want to apply for Vice Chancellor undergrad scholarship for Bachelor of Communication or Computer Science, is there any extracurricular activities taken into account? And to what extent compared to criteria such as like GPA or
Well, my quick answer for that is no. It will only they only will consider the extra curriculum if, let's say, there's 2 students or 3 students have the same scoring, then only they will look into that. If not, they will look at your merit, and then your what we call that, they have the personal statement. We look at the personal statement first. If the personal statement still par, then only we look at the additional documentation that you submit. So the additional documents, it doesn't impact upfront. You have it, it's an extra benefit, but it doesn't help on the first decision making.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think it's fair. For a lot of students, like also coming from my own experience as well, like studying in high school here in Vietnam, it's quite tough to be able to get like 8.0 or like higher. So extracurricular is great, but the higher GPA, the better chance that you can get the higher scholarship. So waiting for more question to come in. I have a few questions for you, Benny. So you mentioned about the like the projects and also like some facilities that were invested to help students with their projects in school, and perhaps you can share a little bit more about like any like highlight story from international students that can from their project, maybe they get their job from the school project or anything like similar like that, so that we can share that with our students.
Actually, there's a lot of them. Okay, like example, I'll just give you one example from the startup. Okay, from the start, there's this group of there's this student who actually brought the grandparents to see what we call physiotherapy. They actually migrated to Australia, and then they actually the grandmother need a physiotherapy, so he actually brought the grandma to see the physio, and he realized that only one physio helping one patient at the time. And what happened was he was thinking he's an biomedical engineering student, and then what he wants is like he said, hey, why can't a physiotherapy help more people? And they realized that more physiotherapy get injured than the patient. So instead of helping people, they themselves get injured. So he was thinking of how to help the physiotherapy. And he came back and he talked to a nursing student, and they actually come up together and they designed a robot hand. So what happened now is that robot hand has become a real product in the industry and demand by hospital, and it become a real production. And now they are actually using it in the hospital. Why? The robot hand actually help the physio patient to do their physio, while not the physiotherapy can actually manage a few patients at the same time. So the robot is actually doing it, yeah. And then now they can actually multiply the work and then finish up the work faster, and actually they don't get injured at the same time. So that is one project. And we have students who design a software programming that actually have done the project all the way to what we call Silicon Valley. It's called Rocket something. I can't remember the company name. But at the same time, we also have another startup that actually have done when nowadays we have all these devices, and then we want to have extra screen. So that screen is called Nespresso. Okay, espresso screen. So the espresso screen is you can adapt to any single device, and it's really, really big screen and high resolution. And it was a funded project, early stage, and then now it become a real product and has been selling hotcake in Australia. So yeah, and that product has been, even I want to order, it says sorry, we don't send to Malaysia. So it's like yeah, so it is really, really nice, really, really cool, and the equipment is fantastic. So it has been a hot product in the market at the same time. And I tell you, there's so many stories that I can tell. And I have one student who got 100% scholarship from UTS, and then she did a double degree. At the same time, she was a very active student at UTS. She had done, I'm not sure how she do it, but she has like 3 internships at the same time that she can actually cope in the same semester. Yeah, she was so high demand because she joined a lot of clubs. The example that she joined the business women clubs, and she is also and many other clubs that she joined. So all these clubs, right? She actually do a lot of networking with them, and always people say that when you have the network, you have the net worth.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's how it works. And then because she always present herself and talk out herself, and all that, what happened was she was so hot, and everybody just want her to work with them. So at the end, sometimes even one semester, she got 3 internships going on. At the same time, she can hit a very high score at UTS because it's all practical based. And that's how you do it. And the more you learn at UTS, the more practical things you do, the more things that you can apply. So for you to go to another company or to another activity, it's just like attending another meeting, another discussion, another group. So another project that's going on. So it becomes a normal life for the student. So this is what her feedback to me. And and now she because of pandemic, she went back to Vietnam. Even during this, she took a gap year, and she's in Vietnam now, and she's with KPMG or EY, I can't remember. So straight away she got a job already. So that's how fast the students cycle works, and a very good example.
That's really good. Oh, speaking of the scholarship, would you mind to share a little bit about the stats? So I remember last time when we had a meeting with UTS. One of the team member mentioned that there's only one slot for the 100% scholarship per semester, right?
Yes. There's like the 100% scholarship is only by merit base, and they only have 2 places a year, each for each semester. So we have one for summer and one for autumn. And the time of application, the time that they open for application is April is for the spring intake, and November will be for the autumn intake. And bear in mind, it only happened only for 1 month. So if the student want to apply, they must be applying during that particular month. So 1st of November to end of November. And if you go to the website now, it will show you closed. But November 1st, it will open. So the status will open. So that is a time where they need to apply. And they must have either a conditional offer or an offer from UTS to put in an application for the 100% scholarship. So it is good that they get themselves prepared early, then they put it. And the rest of the scholarship, you do not need to apply for it. It's automatically accessed.
So so say for example, if the students from Vietnam, if they got their final transcript for the second semester by let's say May, so the due date is April. So can the student submit the previous semester, which is like September to December, like the previous semester, to apply for the Vice Chancellor scholarship, or it has to be the latest one?
I think it has to be the latest one, but they can submit to get a conditional offer first. So once they have an offer with UTS, so when they put in an application, is using the previous semester or the previous the first semester of the year. So they get that with a conditional offer, then they can launch the 100% scholarship, and they have to submit the final result before the announcement of the scholarship. So normally if they are in time for the Vietnamese students, normally in time. And most of the country, they always are in time for those, because our class only start in August, and the scholarship normally announced somewhere in June, July. So they have a good gap time where they can actually submit the final result to fulfill the requirement.
Should be enough time. And also, if the students, let's say they study first semester or first year in bachelor degree in Vietnam, can they apply for the Vice Chancellor scholarship, or would that be only available for high school?
It's only available for international high school and high school. So those but if let's say the student did an SAT score, they have an SAT score, then we can actually use the SAT score to apply. Let's say example, student has done a 1 year in one of the Vietnam school or anywhere in the world, okay, or anywhere in Southeast Asia region. They have done a legitimate, recognized institution for the first year degree because their high school is not recognized. Example in Philippines, example in Myanmar, Cambodia, or Vietnam or Indonesia. They did their first year in one of the reputable institutions. They want to transfer over, but they don't have any scholarship in hand. But if they actually have an SAT exam, if they do an SAT exam, then SAT will become the international recognition. And with the SAT score, they can actually come in directly with that to UTS, and at the same time, they can also eligible for the scholarship. So if let's say student has above 1,350 of SAT score, they also guarantee a 25% scholarship. So that roughly around that. Yeah, so they can work on that particular mode. Yeah.
So you said SAT. How about ACT?
ACT you can submit, but that one is on a case-to-case basis because because ACT depend on the college that is recognized. It's not if there's the college board is on the college board, then it's okay. Because not all the ACT program is registered under the correct college board. So then we have to look at the college board to decide what whether that is a recognized score or not.
Yeah. That's pretty much clear. Anyone have any more questions before we wrap up for today's session? I think
if you have any question, you can always pop it out anytime, so that we can actually answer those questions at any moment of the time. So it's quite straightforward, and we definitely here to help at any moment.
I think that's it. We have another question about students that completed homeschool in under ACE, American Christian English, and take A level.
Okay, so for American syllabus or the homeschooling syllabus, they must have an SAT or AP, correct? They must have an SAT and AP. If they don't have that, unfortunately, they can't. The reason is because American syllabus is depend on how many modules they do, and then it doesn't go by the year of education. So let's say someone who is doing quite well, they can actually jump queue to a year 12 syllabus, even though they are only like year 9 or year 10. So, but unfortunately, that doesn't qualify them to be equal par to the international standard. So we need to have the institution who runs the homeschooling will need to issue qualification stating that the program is actually equivalent to year 12, and then add with the SAT. So you need to have two documentation. One is to proof of your completion of year 12. That means you need to show your year 12, year 11, year 10, year 9, all the subject that you have done. Because it is very hard to determine. So because some American syllabus, right, they actually do 2 subjects, only 3 subjects, which is because I do face this type of students before, and they say I already done my year 12, but they only done two modules. So to them it's completed, but to us 2 modules doesn't meet the criteria. So they need to have at least like example, A levels also have 4 subjects. Minimum we look at the best 3. So they need to have a specific areas. We don't have a prerequisite subject, but we do require students to have a certain numbers of qualification to meet the entry requirement. So the American degree homeschooling concept will need to show proof of their level of education plus an SAT or an AP. Yeah, then they can actually use the SAT. So we still look at benchmark at SAT. Same goes to the rest of the other school that is not recognized, but you need to complete year 12. Okay, then plus an SAT, then we will recognize. Yeah, for direct entry, or else you have to go to our UTS college diploma pathway. So either way is fine, because diploma pathway will be a very good transition period for the student for those countries that is non-English speaking, which is fantastic for them. Yeah. Okay, so those are the things that we have.
Yeah. So hope that answered your question, T. We have another question from Zoom as well. Is there any campus in the regional area?
At the moment, we don't have a regional campus, but we do have an offshore learning center. Offshore learning center means that we actually, students who are studying with UTS, we basically have a partner institution where you can go there and study while you are actually doing online. Like example, in Vietnam, we are working with Vince University. In Indonesia, we are working with UMN. So in Malaysia, we're going to launch very soon. It will be one of the very good institutions in Malaysia as well. So it is in a hotspot. And once the borders are opening up, and also the what we call the movement around is movable, then most of the students can go to our partner institution while they can't travel to Australia. While they are waiting, they can go to our partner institution to do their study online with other UTS students at the same time, and utilize all the facilities at our partner institution campus to support your learning, while we also have what we call onshore, the staff on the campus to support your learning as well. So we have facilitator to support your learning process. If you have questions, we have facilitator to support and answer all your questions, or they will bring up to the campus to get the help and then come back to you and guide you through your study as well. So at the same time, you can actually work with other students from UTS together at the campus. And you don't have to pay for a single cent because you are paying for UTS fees. We are paying for all these facilities that on the campus that you are using. So no problem at all.
Yeah. I guess it's no. So another follow-up from Zoom is that whether the student can get the 3 years PSW visa. Unfortunately, because the region, the campus in Australia is in Sydney, so unfortunately, only 2 years for the PSW visa.
Can I top up this one? A lot of people are asking me about the 2 years and the 3 years thing. I said very simple. Doesn't make any difference whether 2 years or 3 years. Even they give you 1 year is good enough. Why? Very simple. Just imagine that today I suddenly join your Facebook page. I click and I want to follow you, or I want to add you as friend. You don't even know who am I. Do you approve me? You will definitely reject me. But if imagine now I add you, and then I have a common friend, not only your common friend with a few person, some more with your family member, would you consider, hey, maybe I approve first, see who is this first, and then after that, if I don't know him, I will reject him. No? So that's how important it is to get to know and to be able to adapt to the industry. Because the first thing is to get in to the Australia culture, to get in, because a lot of companies do not hire someone, they don't want to take the risk to hire someone, or they don't want to get the pressure to hold on to someone that they don't know, because they don't know the culture, whether can you work with Australia's people, can you work with the culture of people there, do you understand their working force, do you understand their style of doing things. If they don't know you, they don't want to take the risk to sponsor you. But because now, if you finish a post-study work visa, you got a 2 years, the 2 years is enough to prove yourself how valuable to you, to the company. And most of the students will get the third year after that. So you don't have to get the 3 years just to get that. You just need 1 year to prove yourself, second year to establish yourself, the third year you already got the sponsorship from the company. That's how valuable it is. So you don't have to get the 3 years to get the 3 years. And put it this way, if you go to regional area, not because I'm from Sydney, okay? If you go to regional area, ask yourself, is there so many workplace available? Because you remember, your 3 years only valid if, let's say, you are working in the regional area. If you can't find a job in the regional area, are you going to stay back for 3 years? That's the question mark. Okay? Because you are not allowed to go to other states to work, because the regional has a terms and conditions, you must work there. Yes. So if you can't, then there's a big question mark. Are you going to hold on to the 3 years, or are you going to leave the country? So at the end of the day, you still have to come back to 2 years. If you decided to drop that 3 years and you go to Sydney, or you go to Melbourne to find a work, that means come back to 2 years as well. There's no difference. So the work population, more than 50, more than 60, more than 70% of the workforce is fall into Sydney and Melbourne. These are the two places where the economy is happening. So you can imagine that the job availability is there. So that's how I hope I can answer your question.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it from Zoom. Everyone have any other question? You can pop in the Q&A box or chat box. Or otherwise, we will wrap up for today. So yeah, I think it's really clear, and of course the opportunities in Sydney compared to Sydney, Melbourne, compared to other regional cities is of course more than regionals. So there's a pros and cons between regional and non-regional. So depend on the career that the student would like to study as well, would like to pursue as well, if it's related to like service, financial, or like technology. Perhaps those bigger city non-regional would be more appropriate for students to consider. But if it's something like a niche market that only non-regional would be in their strength, then yeah, non-regional would also be consideration for you as well. Oh, I just remember you mentioned about the study hub in countries like Vietnam and Indonesia. So I just want to elaborate more about that. So for Vietnam students, the study hub for UTS is located in Vinh Uni, as Benny mentioned. So I remember last time you mentioned that the student can have like relocation, like bursary or something like that, so that they are not located
if student decided to join the OLC or the Offshore Learning Center, if they are staying outside of Hanoi, or even in Hanoi, if they are outskirts of Hanoi, they are moving to the campus, as long as they are able to prove that they have a signing of a rental at the surrounding of the campus area, then there will be an allocation of relocation fees of 1,000 Aussie dollar to be paid to them.
That's really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the student can utilize that to consider while they're still being offshore.
Yeah.
So
We even
having all
have
the
a
environments. Yeah.
Laos. We even have a Laos student who joined
Oh,
the
last
LC in
student.
Vietnam. Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and they have to go through I mean UTS
Immigration and all
college.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still better to have your peer students together with you, and also the internet, it's better than you using at home.
Correct.
So but I mean could be considering to like the lockdown situation, but today I think everyone in Hanoi can go out.
Oh,
Yeah, the lockdown is least at ease today, I think today. So the shops are open, reopening, but for Ho Chi Minh City is still under lockdown. So yeah, good for Hanoi. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. All the questions that we got from our participants. So after this meeting, after this webinar today, we'll send out the PPT along with the recording would be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So feel free to circulate that to your colleague as well. So thank you very much, Benny, for your time with us today. And we hope once this pandemic is over, you can come and visit Southeast, like Vietnam and other countries to meet our Asian partner as well. So please take care and stay safe during this time.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye everyone. Take care.
Bye. Yes.
See ya.